Are you struggling to show up authentically with friends, loved ones, or at work? Authenticity is our true power. It affirms our value to ourselves and to those who love us, but it takes bravery, self-awareness, and compassion to try again when you fail. Before you can start doing this, you must first be able to accept your own worth. If that's a struggle for you, this will be out of your reach until that issue has been overcome. I'm James Burnham. I'm the fear guy, and this is what I do to be authentic.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
The first thing I do is I let go of my need to control outcomes. This is a really tough one. We are engaging with people typically to find a means to an end. You gotta let that go. Then you gotta recognize where you're the most authentic in your life. Who do you show up with most honestly and openly? And when does this require bravery? What makes it possible for you to show up in front of those people where you really are authentic? Third, identify where you're weakest at being open and honest and real. Are these business interactions, romantic relationships, new friends, your family? You need to find that out and identify it. Number 4, the final one, role play scenarios out in your mind. You think of those spaces where you have failed to show up, where you have not made the choice to be your authentic self, and role play a new way, letting go of those outcomes, being brave, and stepping through that gate when you encounter it. Hey, I got a story for you out of my own personal life of how I made this transition from where I was weak and not authentic and became strong that I want to share with you at the end. But first, let's dive into those 4 points so you really understand how they work. The idea, point 1, of letting go of outcomes. That's a really powerful one. And this was a real mind opener for me. When I start to engage in a conversation that is intended to have an outcome, you're talking to a girl, the outcome, I want to take you home and make out with you, or whatever that may be, right? Or you're talking to your boss, the outcome, I want to make sure that I show up really well and I get a raise. These are things that are naturally within us. When we are holding on to them, we begin to lose ourselves in the desire to sway that person. And we can sometimes say things that we don't mean. When that happens, we're trying to manipulate that other person. That other person, whether or not they fully recognize it, will feel the lack of authenticity that you demonstrate as you are trying to manipulate them. We hate to be manipulated. But when you show up and say honestly what you feel and what you believe, your compliments come across better. Your information comes across more powerfully because it comes from your heart, and we actually, as humans, identify with this. The reason we do is because of mirror neurons. We actually, when we look at each other, can see and feel and share our emotions, everything that we carry within us. Because humans, we're social animals. We're meant to connect. And when you begin to manipulate from the outcome, wanting to gain something at the end, that is seen by that person across from you. And the more astute they are, the less impact your manipulation will have on them. So don't control outcomes. Just be yourself. Be authentic. Be real. That's what everybody wants. Next one, recognize, point 2, where you are most authentic. All of us have a space where we feel safe. Maybe that's with your family. Maybe it's with a close friend. You know you got somebody, at least I hope you do, that you can show up and say what honestly is on your mind. You show up no matter how embarrassing it may be, no matter what struggle you're facing, you can say, hey, this is what's happening to me. I guarantee there's moments in your life where that person that you want to be authentic with, or you know how to be authentic with, you've had to dig down deep and find your bravery and show up, and the effect of it did not destroy your relationship. You were able to continue to have a relationship with this person. They still loved you. They're still with you in spite of maybe the thing that you think would have damaged things. Recognizing where you're authentic is important for that. Then identifying where you're weak is point 3. Learning to be open and honest in real interactions in the spaces where you're weak is where this all comes to play. When you can learn to identify where you're weak, this becomes the new space that you can really take that template of bravery, that space where you know how to show up, and put it on this space where you're weak. And trust in the space where you show up, and know that it will play out in the best way possible. Because there are going to be people that will reject you. There are going to be people that will judge you. There are going to be people that will not see you the way you want to be seen. And when you don't show up authentically because you're scared, you don't give yourself the chance to identify those people that are not on your team. You're bringing people into your circle that should not be there because you're trying to appease them. You know how appeasement went if you understand World War II history. Hitler got appeased, and he just kept taking over and taking over and taking over until he had to be beaten down through war and violence. We don't want to get you there. Show up authentically in your weakest spaces, and you will find things work out better for you. And the way to do this at the end is really point 4, role-playing scenarios. I can sense in myself when I fail to show up authentically. There are moments when a question is asked of me that I feel, oh, this is not going to play out well. Your boss asks you a question. Why were you late? I'm late because, and you make up some story, or you can just say, man, I slept in. I'm sorry. That happens. Right? When you begin to own that space, it shows you're accountable. It demonstrates that you're willing to be honest. It actually, if you're with the right people, allows them to see you and trust you. It creates powerful relationships, and it shows that you have the strength to be who you are in any situation. This is leadership. This is strength. We often shy away from it because it can be scary. You could have a potential fallout for saying, yeah, I'm late because I slept in. Maybe you'll get in trouble. I don't know what the situation is, but it's always better to face it. So role play those scenarios in your head, those places where you show up weak. For me, well, I have lots of places where I showed up weak, and I would role play those scenarios like crazy. And I'd like to give you a story of kind of this journey for me and how I really faced it. Because honestly, I did control my outcomes as much as I could when I was younger. I wanted to make sure that things went my way, and it came really from a low sense of self-worth. I was worried that I wasn't enough. And because of that, I would try to be whatever I needed to be for the people around me. That didn't play out well because I lost myself. I didn't know how to be authentic because I was never being authentic in most situations. I was fortunate in the fact that I had really, really close friends that I could show up for. And that became the foundation of how I built myself into a more authentic being that hopefully I am now today, where I can talk to you and just say, hey, this is what's going on with me, this is what I face, and you can sense that, and you can feel that. And I have found that it has opened doors for me. And here's an example of where that really, really began to play out for me. I was working, really doing what I do now as a coach, but I also was working as a consultant, and I was trying to do some writing, and I was doing all these things to try to bring in the money that I needed to bring in to sustain my family. And at the time I was doing a talk show, and I interviewed a man that was a coach, really high level. His name was Dave Austin. He was coaching athletes, he was coaching musicians, and I literally sat in on a coaching session with him with one of the New York Yankees before he went out onto the field to play as a pregame warm-up. And it was a cool experience to watch this man work and see his power. And I was admiring him and thinking, man, I wish I could be like this guy. And then I interviewed him, and I was asking him questions about how he became the coach he is. And he said to me in a story, he said, you know what, James, there was a time in my life where I was doing multiple things at a time. At the time he was coaching, he was working as a consultant, he was managing a record label, he was doing all these things because he felt he needed to bring in all this money. And as he was describing this situation to me, I realized that I myself was doing the exact same thing he had been doing. And he said, until I truly decided that I was a coach and that I would face that and be that, the doors that I wanted to open were unopened to me because I wasn't really accepting what I am. And that hit me. It really hit me. After I heard him talk about this, I decided I'm going to be a coach. And so I dropped my consulting side of my practice. I dropped a bunch of the things that I was doing, and I just started admitting, I'm a coach. This is what I do. I'm a coach for fear. I'm a master guide. If you got something that's stuck in you, I'll push you through it. This is what I knew I could do. And in the moment I began to say that, new opportunities came to me. I started to have these doors open to me. I started finding new clients. My business started building. Things changed dramatically for me because I had stepped in to my authentic space. And I believe that people could see it, they could feel it, and they acted on what I was giving them. And I was no longer trying to manipulate their response to me by saying, oh yeah, I'm a consultant and I'm a writer and I do interviews and covering my bases to show my value. I was just saying straight up, this is what I do. If your eyes glaze and look at me and think, man, that's crazy, or don't trust me, that's not my issue. My issue is simply to let you see what I am. And that has given me more opportunities than anything that I had done in the past. So authenticity is your power. Be authentic. Be brave. Speaking of authenticity, I got another video, how to heal from a friendship breakup. It really requires you to be authentic. And it uses a special technique, Hawaiian technique called Ho'oponopono. It's a beautiful thing that can really, really help. I know it's helped me a lot. If you like what you're hearing, don't forget to like, subscribe, click on the bell. I'm James Burnham. Thanks for hanging out. And here's that video with the Ho'oponopono method that you don't want to miss out on. Check it out.